One of the hallmarks of the Veritus way of major gifts is that you have a strategic plan for every donor in your portfolio. The tool that we use with major gift officers to create that plan is changing its name. But the impact that it makes to help you build authentic relationships continues on. In today's podcast, we talk about why we're changing the name of the marketing impact chart and why it's such a powerful tool.
Welcome to the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritus Group, featuring Richard Perry and Jeff Schreifels. Twice a month, we bring you the latest and best thinking about major gift fundraising, so you can develop authentic relationships with your major donors. Here are your hosts, Richard and Jeff.
Welcome to the podcast. Richard Perry is with me, and today we have a major announcement. Okay,
major announcement.
Maybe it's not major, but it is a significant name change, Richard.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's so funny. What we're announcing today is that Veritus is changing the name of our marketing impact chart.
Yeah.
Actually, let's explain what it is. The document is what we use to help mid-major and planned giving officers create strategic plans. And we're going to change it to the donor engagement plan. Now, the whole point of bringing this up is not the name change. I mean, I know you were kind of joking at the front end, but it's basically, I mean, we just had to change it because the reason we're doing it is that over the years, clients have said to us, they really didn't like the name marketing impact chart because it's not really people centered.
We took this from our previous agency days, that domain group back in the 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
We called this thing the marketing impact chart to keep track of everything we were doing, to get out an appeal or whatever.
Yep.
But I think the donor engagement plan better reflects what the role of the actual tool is.
And it's a really good tool, which is what we're going to talk about on this podcast.
I mean, the whole thing is to help you create strategies to better engage your donor, and then helps you focus on the right things. But better than anything you can name it, what it does is way more important than the name. Here's the reason why we had to create this tool in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every donor database that we've come across has nothing for the major gift officer to actually plan out their entire strategic plan for an entire 12-month period.
And have it personalized to the donor's interests and passions and their communication preferences.
Yeah.
And
you can't put goals. There's bits and pieces of it within databases, but there's not one place where they can just put it all in and be able to view it all in one spot. And it's really frustrating. You would think that over all these years, Richard, that one of these donor databases would figure this out, but they're not very major gift or mid-level or plan giving centric to me.
No, they really aren't. And so, I mean, this thing that we call the donor engagement plan is actually a planning tool.
Right.
And we've created it in an Excel format. And by the way, we are talking to software developers about getting it integrated into databases, but it's taking us a bit. But it doesn't replace your database,
right?
Which for the most part is where you record all the actions that you've taken with a donor, so that you kind of have the history of your interactions and the communication, and you got the donor's giving history and so on. But what the donor engagement plan really does, it's a tool to help you create a strategic plan for every single one of your donors.
Yeah.
It allows you to put in your revenue goals, cash flow them by month, review the donor's giving history, their communication preferences, their passions and interests, to tiers them, A to C.
Yep.
And it gives you the ability to outline your monthly strategy for every donor. And it's all in one document.
Exactly. And this donor engagement plan, this DEP, for short, DEP tool, is really intended to help you as a frontline fundraiser keep focused and accountable to your goals and plan for your donors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know this might just seem like an ordinary tool, but it actually has helped thousands of major gift officers over the years to more effectively build those relationships with donors, even when they can't do it themselves. Let me explain. So we had one fundraiser who had a family situation that caused her to drastically reduce her workload. Basically, she couldn't take on her workload.
Mm-hmm.
But because she had the donor engagement plan already completed, so for every one of her donors in her portfolio, she had a goal set. She had her plan for every donor and what she was going to do for every month. She had all of her donor preferences, how they wanted to be communicated, all of that within that plan. And because she had that completed, her team was able to keep those relationships with donors moving forward. And they worked the plan she had created while she focused on her family needs. So there was all there.
I know, that's the genius of it. I mean, another reason that the donor engagement plan is so effective and why you ought to be using it is it helps you focus your time correctly. Because if your donors are tiered, then you can easily see, where you need to spend more of your time.
Exactly.
Because we've always said that donors, all donors aren't equal.
Exactly.
So that's a really helpful time saver. And then if you're the manager, it helps you make sure that your frontline fundraisers are not, taking a tier C donor out to lunch every month.
Yeah, right.
We've seen that, and when a donor who typically gives at a certain time of year doesn't, and because you have your goals cash flowed in this donor engagement plan, it'll make sure that you don't overlook something like that.
That cash flow idea, that's an important part of this too.
It really is.
Because think about this. If you have all 150 donors, full caseload, and you have all of those goals cash flowed, if you're a manager, you know exactly how much is expected to come in every month. And then when you're meeting with your major gift officer or mid-level officer, you know exactly what's expected, and you can have conversations around donors that may not meet that goal for that month. Something happens, and then you could have those kind of conversations.
Yeah, and you could deal with the variances. I mean, it is an excellent management tool. We had one VP of Major Gifts contact us and tell us that she used the donor engagement plan with her 10 major gift officers, and because they were able to tier their donors, create that plan and have a goal, they all made or exceeded their revenue goals.
Yeah.
But besides that, she told us one of the best things about the donor engagement plan was that her major gift officers knew exactly what they were doing every day. I mean, that one point makes the major gift officer, the mid-level officer, the plan giving officer so much more effective.
Well, that leads me to something else about this DEP tool, the donor engagement plan tool that helps us with, and that is reducing stress.
Wow.
I mean, Richard, listen to this. In a 2018 HR Dive study, 94% of the US and UK workers say they suffer from stress. And of that, a third of them say they suffer from unsustainably high stress.
Wow.
I mean,
goodness, that's really high.
That's super high.
I know. And we know because we've been using the donor engagement plan for many years now that when you know exactly what you're going to do with your donors every day, it reduces anxiety and stress related to your work. I mean, Jeff, how many major gift officers, plan giving officers, mid-level officers have we talked to that when they arrive at the office or like when they're working remotely at home and they start their day, there's not an awareness of what should take priority.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's just whatever is urgent, right?
Yeah. And you're feeling behind. And how do I kind of get this going? And that creates stress. Whereas this way of planning that we've created actually tells you what you've got to do today or this month or this week. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I like to think of it as that the structure around the tool creates more freedom. Because when you know what you're going to be able to do every day with the donors, it allows you the creativity because you know what you have to do. And within that, you can be as creative and do different things with your donors because you know exactly these are the donors I'm focusing on today. I don't have to worry about if something comes in at me because I'm focused on my plan.
Well, and then you have some donor that just loves to kind of get together and chat.
Yeah.
And you realize, well, you need to put that energy in its proper place. So let's just review what the donor engagement plan is all about. And by the way, the reason Jeff and I are talking about this right now is not to promote the donor engagement plan, but to basically tell our listeners and readers, like, well, this is how you better manage donors. Here's what it does. It allows you to create a strategic plan for all the donors in your portfolio and cash flow your revenue goals.
Yeah.
Now, and you see all of this in one document. Now, when we say create a strategic plan for all your donors, we mean that you're starting with their passions and interests and their communication preferences that's unique to that donor.
Yeah.
It's not a one-size-fits-all thing, which is how most major gifts are approached, where you just, well, we're going to send this to all our major donors.
Right.
It's a strategic, personalized plan for each donor in your portfolio.
It almost feels like we look at our major gift donors almost like we would a direct response, like, well, we'll just send them all the same thing. The beauty of major gifts, as you know, is that we can spend that time with individual donors and create those individual plans.
Exactly. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, once you have a plan, you now have a 12-month roadmap for every one of your donors. So you know what you're doing. You know exactly what you've got to do every day, which means it's less stress. It's just about execution. You don't have to you don't have to actually worry about forgetting anything because it's all written down. And here's the funny thing about that. I mean, you know the pushback, Jeff, we get on the front end with a lot of our frontline fundraisers. It's sort of like, well, I'm not going to, that's going to take forever to do that. And once they get it, they just think like, my goodness, this is my best friend, this whole thing.
Some of the best stories, I think, Richard, are from those MGOs that initially said, there's no way I'm going to do this. I'm sorry. This is going to just take too much time. And they're a pain, they're a pain at first to manage. But then they start to see how actually it works for them and how much easier it is for them to interact with donors because now they know what they're doing and they can see it clearly. And then those initial those MGOs who are initially really frustrated with it come back to us and say, you know what? This was the best thing that I've ever done as a major gift officer to get my act together.
And we have hundreds of those stories. Now, and here's the last thing. When you have a plan like this, and you work that plan, you make your revenue goals.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, and it's like, wow. There have been so many situations, Jeff, where we have frontline fundraisers not reaching their goals.
Right.
Because they're ineffective, they're not efficient, they're not productive. And when they get their life together with a donor engagement plan and have a strategic plan for every one of the donors in their portfolio with cash flow revenue goals, it is amazing the transformation in the productivity and the results that they achieve. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is absolutely amazing. And here's the thing: it's not rocket science. This is just us sitting down and planning for your donor. It takes some work, but the payoff is tremendous for you.
It really is.
And that's why we have that tool. We created it because we didn't see it in databases, but it was needed so that the major gift officer had a place to put in that information.
Yes.
So that's why it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, but very powerful. I mean, why would you not want to do this with your own portfolio, right?
I actually wonder, really.
Okay, so before we take off today, I want to provide you with a way to download the donor engagement plan so you can start creating a plan for every one of your donors. Go to veritusgroup.com and go to the resource tab and hit white papers and look for Veritus Group's donor engagement plan.
Mm-hmm.
You can download it for free and start making your life much less stressful.
Yeah, do it.
Do it. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritus Group. Richard and Jeff also write an ongoing blog that you can subscribe to for free at veritusgroup.com. Please join us again next time.